Hi friends, my name is Borrodante and welcome back to the Outlandish Curiosity. So here's the final version of the pages 3 and 4. I added a little bit of sea in the background behind Gilbert, worked a little bit on some details, added a bit more of floating sand with the wind, and also worked a bit on the details of the Hillstrom crab. So for now, this is the final version. And now we move on with the story. So the new page, with my glorious quick sketch that I was doing while discussing it with Kevin. So after investigating the crabs on the beach, we move closer to the jungle area. And Gilbert is asking us to play a game. Here in the dense jungle of Warb, there's a constant game of who's who at play. Can you guess who's the plant and who's the pretender? So, at the left, this is Gilbert. It's gonna be a Gilbert right now, it's a potato. And then there's a giant landscape of the jungle and a bunch of different vegetation growing here and there. And some of them will be these three guys, or two guys actually. So this plant, remember this, I keep forgetting all the names. Right, so Curlim is the plant that's collecting the sunlight energy and then closing when the sun goes down. And it's in this stage when it's dark. And then there's Delonious Snake that is pretending to be Curlim the plant to hunt on different insects that are getting attracted to the Curlim the plant. Also in this gigantic composition there will be Trebus and a Linèn, which is a plant creature thing from the first book, designed by a different artist. So we're implemented here as well. Kinda like a bonus trick thing, like an extra detail on the page. So there's that. Okay, so getting comfy with the references. So we should start with designing a good, cool composition with the whole vegetation thing. Like it should be an actual like jungle with a lot of details, so it would look like a game. You have to actually find all these characters, creatures and plants in the image. So there will be actually two pages that are the same. In the first one, everything will be very mixed together, so the colors will be very subtle. So you'll really have to try hard to find the characters in it. And on the second page, there will be the same image with slight changes, and also all the characters revealed a lot better with higher contrast and everything. So that's the plan. Okay, so let's actually start. I'm thinking let's search the composition in color right away. We'll see how that'll turn out. But I mean, I don't see much sense in searching the jungle landscape with lines. So let's drop some spots. And let's start with the sky. So this is a golden hour. Kind of closer to evening with long shadows. Kind of the same thing we had on the beach with the crabs. So maybe this kind of color for the sky. Now let's search the colors for all the objects, for all the main objects, when they are in shadow, meaning without the sunlight. In this case we're gonna pay attention to the air perspective colors, and then we'll add the sunlight without having to think about the air perspective. The good old strategy from the Dead in Space episode. So this is the color of basic green vegetation things when they're close to the camera. And then we'll mix in some of the sky color. Kinda like this is the main far away vegetation color. Look at that, it already feels like there's something further away, even though this is just a couple of spots. Now let's add some of the brown colors, like the ground plus bits of the wood or wooden branches of any sort. So let's search that color. I'm looking for like an actual color of the object, then I kind of distorted a bit with the color of the sky, like before the air perspective thing, because when the objects are in the shadow from the sun, the only thing that's lighting them up is the sky, and the sky is kind of this purple-violet color. So we kind of move it a bit closer to that, not blending in with the air, the fog, but just making them lit by this light. Maybe something more colorful. I think this is an interesting color for it. So some of it is here. I don't think they're gonna be like actually brown. Maybe like a lot of green on them as well. But let's start with this, just to save the color. Our canvas is our palette. Okay, so having some colors here. Now let's blend it with the sky. So I just make a stroke and pick up some transparent area. The darker the color initially, like the wood is darker than the green that we have right now, the stronger it will get affected by the fog, because fog is always eating away darkest colors more. Ooh, it's so vibrant, like actually getting violet. I actually like it. So we actually have to think about like the place, the composition of the location. I don't usually work much with locations, so it's pretty interesting for me right now. We have to come up with an interesting place so it would look cozy and interesting for the canvas at the moment. So I'm thinking there's some kind of area in here, like a bunch of trees. And in here it's kind of like this, and then there's like a circle, like a spot inside further away. And there might be some sunlight breaking in this area, and a beautiful fog lit by the sun. It's gonna look pretty cool. And this is the kind of thing I think we should really start with when we're creating a location shot. Okay, enough of the wood. Let's add some sand. So if wood was darker than the green, then the sand should be probably brighter. Yellow stuff is brighter. Okay, maybe bring a bit closer to red due to the violet skylight. Yeah, this feels like correct gamma for this situation. Keep in mind, it looks kind of pale and bland right now because we're only working with the kind of shadows. I haven't added any sunlight yet. So this is like sand or just bright like soil of some sort. It's sandy or clay-ish, I don't know. Okay, and this is the sand color far away. Not very affected by the air perspective, but a little bit, of course. And this is Gilbert's silhouette for now. Just gonna be a spot, so we could figure out the good color composition, I don't know. Gorgeous jungle for now. Now I summon the potato brush. It's time. Okay, let's actually turn off the color picker and just work with what we have. I'm still gonna have to use a lot of color picker, I think. Let's actually add a bit of a grid thing from the recent episode. Meaning, I just want to have something to base the whole geometry on. So the horizon is probably somewhere around here. And let's just actually go like this. Hipster white sketch. So since the horizon is basically in the middle of the image, not too high, not too low, then all the vertical lines, these ones, the third dimension, will be really just vertical. We might add some of this lens distortion effect, which is basically a perspective distortion. I think it would be a nice touch, but again, shouldn't emphasize it too much, because we're not about some special effects here, this is an adventure. Oh yeah, this looks very three-dimensional now. Okay, made some overlay high-pass effect from it. I think we're all set. Let's do some hardcore painting. So I'm adding some lit up fog in this area by the sunlight. Should start doing this already, even though we're not thinking with the sunlight all that much, but of course have to think through everything. So I'm adding all the characters that we need on the screen. I think I'm gonna add another Travis somewhere around here. So let's probably do that and then add some sunlight before we hit any details, because I'm already almost starting to do that. Alright. Seems pretty good. All the details are kinda like this, because I was placing the brush this way. Well, it's not really important at the moment. Okay, I think let's merge everything together. I, for some reason, was separating everything into layers. We'll probably keep Gilbert in the separate layer, and everything else will just receive some nice sunlight on it. So let's do that. So we'll grab this color, and we'll think, what will the sunlight do with it? It will make it brighter. It will make it more yellow. And a bit juicier, just because we want it to be juicier. Okay, this color seems to be working everywhere. So let's go through the whole thing. We imply that the sunlight is going like this. So it's gonna be pretty. Let's actually make Gilbert a little bit, so putting some very subtle dim colors on him, simultaneously trying to figure out his anatomy and everything, which is of course the best idea ever. Okay, one last touch. Let's add some sunlight on the wood stuff. And that would be it for today's stage. We'll see what Kevin says. I'm pretty sure we need to work a lot more on the proper contrast. On one hand, we should see all the characters, and some of them are too high contrast. It looks cool, and I actually planned to start it this way, like to make it too obvious at first. Because in painting it still has to be obvious, and then if we're making puzzle out of it, we sort of add or remove certain contrasts and everything like that. It's gonna be easy. The most important part is to make a good picture out of it. So at first we follow the basic rules of making objects appear properly on the image. So that's what we're doing. So yeah, let's add some sunlight on the browns. And maybe a little touch of sunlight on the shoulder of Gilbert. That would be pretty. And also I wanted to add some clouds. Just tiny bits, maybe a couple of feathers of very rare clouds catching the evening sunlight. Okay, cool. So this is it for today, I think. I really have to, sleep on it to understand what the hell I did just now. And you friends tell me what you think about the whole composition. As usual, we're strategically not rushing into details. First, we just figure out the whole thing, what we want to see. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. So we work better on all the details here and there to make actual sense out of everything. And I think it's gonna look pretty awesome. So yeah, share your thoughts in the comments. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Approach strangers in jungles. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. This turned out way more colorful than I expected. In a good way.